Where do you go when you have questions about your business success? That's right. You come to growthsuccessradio.com, the only podcast on the internet dedicated to your business's growth and success. Welcome to our show. Sit back and enjoy the ride. No problem. Colleen, can you hear me?
Yes, are you staying on, Cassandra?
I can't because I got to go get ready for my meeting, but as soon as you're done, just can you do, looking at my keys, the three buttons, you're going to do the button to the right that shows that you're walking out of the house.
Can't hear you, Colleen.
Oh, you know what, Cassandra, I'll call you when I'm done. I'm actually on live. They can hear you. Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, good.
Technical problem there. Sorry about that.
All right. Oh, and I always forget to do this. So,
Oh, there you are.
good morning. I'm here. I always forget about that. So, this is Growth Success Radio, and so we've had a couple of changes this week. So I'm going to go through the changes first. Cassandra was initially going to join us from Treasure Time, and instead we have Suzanne, who's the CEO of Treasure Time. She's using Cassandra's login, but that's okay. We're okay with that. And usually I have Eugene Resnitsky of Trigger Insurance with me. Today I have Colleen from Colleen Ferrari Bader.
For fixing that.
From Small Business USA. She is a previous guest, and I've been working with Colleen on different projects for some time now. So great person to get to know. So Suzanne, meet Colleen. Colleen, meet Suzanne.
Hi.
Hi, Suzanne. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So Growth Success Radio is the Blabcast. I don't know if I created that word, but I'm going to claim it for now.
I love it, Scott. That's awesome. I'm writing it down. Blabcast.
Blabcast for small business owners and today nonprofit owner to talk about their challenges, their successes, marketing, and so forth. I am Scott Gombar, owner of Scott Gombar Digital Marketing. And what I do is I help small to medium businesses with their digital marketing, and that includes Google. So Google domination, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram, on, and Blab. Colleen, tell us about your business.
Small Business Connecticut, or I step back in time. Small Business USA is a company really focused on creating a complete support system around small business owners, and in a multitude of different ways. But as someone so eloquently said, we create a map of the minefield for small business owners and really help guide them, keeping them out of trouble, and help them drive profit and sales. So having a lot of fun doing that.
Awesome.
So Suzanne, I want to hear about what you're doing.
So Treasure Time is a non-for-profit. I founded this about 3 years ago. And it's basically our mission is to help grant the wishes of parents who have life-threatening illnesses, and we help them to create a memory with their children. So since I founded this, we've helped, well, actually, I would say that we took the first family on about 2 years ago, and we just voted in our 15th family. So it's been a whirlwind. So we're really excited. We're growing quickly. We were actually on the Today Show a couple months ago. So it's been really exciting.
I kind of messed up Scott's script here. I'm sorry, Scott.
Suzanne doesn't even know I have a script. It's okay.
Yeah, I didn't know. You're right.
Suzanne, some of our guests ask for the questions ahead of time. The first guest we ever had on here asked for the questions ahead of time. So I gave them some, but what I didn't tell them was that at the end we do this lightning round, and there's 4 questions that we ask everybody. So I don't know if you've ever watched previous ones, but if you haven't, you're going to be in for a little bit of a surprise at the end anyway.
Okay.
Colleen knows the questions because we caught her off guard with them a few weeks ago. So, just some updates. I just finished a Periscope a few minutes ago, and I talked about being genuine on these platforms, really, and because last night I couldn't sleep. So what do? I jump on Periscope and start watching people from around the world. And Suzanne, I was telling Cassandra about Periscope yesterday. I think it would be awesome for you guys to use it as some of your events. I know you have one coming up next month. That you'll be able to tell us about shortly. But it would be awesome if you use Periscope at those events to show the world what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
So I was, I jumped on this morning to talk about that. But last night I got caught up in one on the West Coast somewhere. And it was a woman who was very obviously not being her normal self. And somebody was really messaging her through Periscope with extremely hateful, and at one point he even said, "I'm going to murder you."
Oh, geez.
Yeah, and so and I, not that it's her fault. It's not her fault. That should never happen. But at the same time, she's portraying somebody else that she's not. And I think you really need to be genuine on these platforms and really show your own personality on Blab and Periscope and Meerkat and all the other platforms that are popping up.
Yeah.
So it was not really an update on social media, but that's what I've got for you today in the social media world. Colleen, tell us any updates in the business world.
I think an election year always brings updates for small businesses, but what I thought I would talk about was the two common trends that I'm hearing with our members this week. So I thought, well, we're hearing these trends over and over this week, so let me just share it, and maybe you guys are challenged with the same issues. And it's fun. I love Blab and I love Periscope, and Scott has really challenged me as a business owner to kind of push forward. And what I've noticed is as we have had this influx of social media and ways to drive your business and market your business, my business owners that I'm seeing, our members, are getting a little fractured with their strategy. And so I want to challenge every business owner out there, as you're building your marketing strategy, stay focused. I think Scott does a great job. He's on Periscope, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Blab, and it's consistent. There's a number, there's a date, there's a strategy. People know what they can expect, and consistency is really key to anybody that you're trying to market to. They want to see it over and over. It's far better to have a consistent message that people see, and especially in this world where things come at them from all different directions. So I would just challenge you, are you staying focused on your marketing strategy? And if not, Scott's a great resource for that. And we love to help too. The other thing is we're also learning as businesses grow, and I hopefully that is just not indicative of our members, but as we see our businesses and their members grow, we're seeing that business owners are losing sight of their financial window. Where's that money coming from, and what are they spending on it? So as they get more money on the top line, we see this in nonprofits as well. As you get more money on the top line, are we leveraging it, doing the same things? Are we more lenient with our purse strings? Do we know exactly where we're spending our money? So it's always a really good time when your sales go up or your intake comes up to really assess that you still have those purse strings tight, you know where your money is going, and you have a great growth strategy. So those are the two things that I'm seeing that are getting a little loose in the small business world this week.
That's good. I usually tell small businesses to focus on a couple of platforms until they really get a handle on it, and then maybe expand to another platform when it comes to social media. So that's a good point. So Cassandra, Suzanne, see, I'm looking at the name, Suzanne.
I know we really threw you off this morning. We were gonna both do it together, and then we just had a computer issue, so that's why.
That's okay. It happens. Trust me, both Colleen and I have experienced
a lot
troubles with Blab and Periscope for that matter. And this actually went pretty smoothly, so no problem. So Colleen, I just made you a co-host. I don't think you accepted it.
Oh, I saw it flash up as I was talking. I wasn't really sure how to accept it.
So that's a new feature on here, Cassandra. Suzanne. I'm going to put a little piece of tape right here.
You know what? Maybe I should put a little, write something down and just put my name and just hold it, every time you look at me, whoops, as I'm dropping the computer, every time you look at me, you'll see my name.
Yeah, so that's a new feature on Blab. It is the co-host feature. So I made Colleen the co-host. I don't know, what was that, last week they told us about it?
Yeah.
Um,
Am I
so
supposed to accept it? How am I supposed to accept that thing, Scott?
I don't know. Did it go
I
away?
saw it flash and then it went away.
All right, let me try again.
Oh, you're no longer a co-host. You've been made a co-host. Now you can accept calls, moderate.
I took it and gave it back.
Oh, I don't think it matters. I don't think I have to accept it.
Well, it still shows as guest, but that's okay. So, Suzanne, I got it right. We're going to talk about Treasure Time today. The focus is on you.
Great.
So I met you guys not that long ago, over the summer, and really like what you're doing.
Thank you.
It's got to be difficult for sure to do that and work with those families, but you know, I've really like what you're doing, and I think it takes a big heart to be able to step out and do something like that. But you have a story behind why you're doing that.
I do. So, like I said, about 3 years ago, I had a friend who her husband had melanoma. And when we found out that it was terminal, it was like, well, I've got to do something for them. You know, that's just the way that I am. And like, I have this urge that I've got to help people all the time, which sometimes is, you know, is too much. But so I was like, I've got to do something. So I started a food drive and had people delivering food to me, and I would bring it to her and the family. And then I was like, it's not quite enough. So then I said, well, what else can I do? So I started looking around for other people, you know, other places and organizations that could help. So I called Make-A-Wish first, and they were like, well, we don't actually help people that are under, you know, not children under 18. So I'm like, there's got to be something. So I started looking, and unfortunately, there's really nothing out there that does what we do. There is one other company out there that I know of, but you have to have cancer and you have to be terminal. And for us, Treasure Time, it's life-threatening, and it's all life-threatening illnesses. So I said, you know, I decided at that point that there was really not enough out there to help, and that was how I started Treasure Time.
What are some of the things that can you share some of the things that you've done for these families?
Sure. So we've sent a couple families to Disney. That seems to be, you know, the place of choice because I think it's just magical for the parents and the children together. We've done a couple of cruises. We sent one family, the mom had stage 4 breast cancer, and her longtime dream was to take her kids to the Grand Canyon. So we had sent them to Vegas, which was actually cheaper to stay, and they went to by helicopter down into the Grand Canyon and had a picnic on the Grand Canyon floor.
Oh, amazing.
That was incredible. Just seeing the pictures, it was just magic. And we had a family, you know, they're not always extravagant. It's really about what the family wants, you know, and what the parents want to leave for a memory. So we had a family where the dad was sick. He had stage 4, God, I'm trying to remember the name, appendix cancer, which is very rare. And the mom had stage 4, I believe, ovarian cancer. I could be wrong on that, so don't hold me to it. But they were both sick, and so we decided Dad was sicker. So we decided to go his wish, and his wish was to take his girls to see Derek Jeter play one more time.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
we sent them by limousine up to Boston for his last game, and the dad ended up being too sick to go because he was in hospice, and he sent his grandson with him, you know, with the family, because he said that was something his grandson would never forget. And they made this just amazing memory of you know, of what he wanted for them, and he passed away a couple weeks later. And then the mom went into the hospital a few months later, and she passed away.
Wow, tragic for that family.
They left 13-year-old twin girls, and one of them had Down syndrome.
Oh my gosh.
So it was, you know, the mom she really fought. She fought for her husband, and she fought for herself. She spent so much time fighting for him that it didn't, leave a lot of time to fight for herself, which was unfortunate. But and the family that the one that I was talking about that inspired me to do this, not only was dad sick, but their son had ALS, which is childhood leukemia. So that family really needed a break, and I wasn't able to get it up and running in time to help them. But I think it gave his family some ease to know that I was doing that, because of them. So.
It's what you're doing is incredible. I mean, it's
Thank
so
you.
heart-wrenching, and I hope that everybody that sees this call can donate to what you're doing and help, because, just speaking from someone who had a parent who, both of my parents were diagnosed with terminal cancer, and one has miraculously survived, and I'm an adult.
Yeah.
The very first thing you think about as an adult child, and I can't even imagine as the adult suffering with this, is what can I do to make this special and memorable? And it goes in both directions. It's not, I remember my daughter, when we found out about my dad, my daughter who is 10, the very first thing that came out of her mouth was, okay, well, how are we going to spend time with grandpa? How are we going to do this? Mom, we have to make it special for him.
Yeah.
And it is, even for everybody, I imagine. It's not just my family, but the reason you're doing it, it's that memory that I hate to say it this way, but that one last memory that you want to have with them.
Yeah. Well, we had the family that when we were on the Today Show, the family that they featured on the show, and you can see it from our website, which I'm sure Scott will probably say at some point, but it's treasuretime.org. But on our website, you can see the clip from the Today Show, and the family that was featured on there, the dad had stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and we sent them to Disney. He came back. He was home for about 2 weeks, and he passed away. And it's so hard because the mom was having really, it was very difficult for her because she kept thinking, well, what if we didn't go? Maybe he would be here. Because he definitely got sicker being there and on the plane, and he couldn't do everything they wanted to do while they were there. They have a 10 and 3-year-old, and so he was. I think the mom was really struggling with, did I make the right decision doing this for our family? And I just kept telling her, what, you did, because now instead of your daughters having this memory of dad being in the hospital and being sick and chemo and radiation, you have this amazing, beautiful memory of spending a week together in Disney. And that's one of the biggest last memories that those girls have.
Right.
So I really feel like it's hard. It's very hard for all of us because we get close to these families, but I really feel like what we do for them is so special, and we're giving them something that they would not otherwise be able to have.
Right. I wonder if, I just think from my own experiences, it's such a long, grueling, painful, it's just too long, the path to death in a terminal cancer situation. It's just, watching my dad kind of struggle was one of the most painful things I've ever experienced. And there's this point where the family almost wish for it to be shorter. I don't know if that sounds insensitive, but
I think it's hard to watch your loved ones struggle.
If it were me and I was the one suffering, I would so much rather trade weeks for watching my children laugh and smile and just enjoying that time, So I think what you're doing is unbelievably rewarding, and what a gift for that family.
Yeah. We really, just some of the letters we've gotten, we were lucky enough a couple weekends ago, we did our first Treasure Time picnic. And it was our first opportunity to get these families together, because that's one of the things, the girl that planned this for us, she said, you really need an opportunity for these families to be together and for people to meet them and meet the volunteers that put these trips together. And so this picnic, we had about 5 or 6 of our families that were able to make it. It's hard because some of them are so sick, but some of the past families that we've helped. But just to see the families together, I can't even explain the feeling that I had seeing this dream that I had initially, and all of the people on our team and the hard work they've put in these families that we've helped.
Right.
It was just an overwhelming emotion. And I actually started crying at the picnic at one point when I was thanking Erin, who did this for us, because it just to see them. And afterwards, we got a couple of letters from the families saying how special it was for them to meet some of the other families and the volunteers and just what we did for them.
There's something in that support network alone, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's really important for them. And it was nice because some of the families had already been, their wishes had already been granted, and some of them had not yet and were still going. So it was really fun for the families to be able to get together and be like, oh, this is what we did. And,
right.
One of the families who there were 9 of them that went, this single mom, and she's got 7 children, and a grandchild and a son-in-law. So they all went on the cruise, and they came back, and the Carnival Cruise has been an amazing partner to us.
That's great.
And we did a whole photo shoot for this family, and they gave them this book that looks like one of those wedding albums. I mean, it was nicer than my wedding album. I mean, it was gorgeous. And then gave them like a stack like this high of like 8 by 10 photos.
Wow.
And they did all this for them. And, that family is going to have those beautiful memories.
That is absolutely, I think, the greatest gift someone could give to a family in that situation is pictures and that last photo shoot,
Yeah. Yeah. And it was amazing to see these pictures and just the love and this mom. And her story is really unique. She had been married previously, her first marriage, I should say. And they had just bought a house, and they had 3 children, and her husband passed away suddenly and left her with, by herself with the children. Actually, I think it was 4, maybe it was 4 children, and they were all young. And then she had gotten remarried, and that just wasn't a good marriage, and she'd had more children from that marriage. So her longtime dream was to take her children, all of them, on a cruise. So she had started saving, and she had almost had enough to take them all on a cruise, and she found out she had cancer. And all of the money went to her cancer treatment, and she had nothing left. And so she had decided that there was no way it was going to happen, and she'd kind of succumbed to that fact. And her daughter worked at one of the local restaurants here, and it was a fluke. Like I don't normally go to this restaurant and sit at the bar to eat, but my husband had the kids and I was by myself, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to sit at the bar and, and eat there, and started talking to the person next to me about Treasure Time. And the girl behind the bar overheard me, and she said, I have somebody you could help. And she said, I'd like to talk to you after. And I was okay. And then she comes back over a couple minutes later. Actually, it's my mom. And she starts bawling behind the counter, behind the bar, to the point where she had to walk away. And I'm crying. Everybody at the bar is crying. And it was her mom and we'd sent them all on the cruise. And it was amazing. And as you can tell, like it's hard to talk about some of these families. But
so let me switch gears for you a little bit, because I think what you're doing is amazing.
Thank you.
And I'm curious. Let's maybe talk about the business side of it a little bit and give you a little break.
Thank you. It's very hard to talk about the families.
But I wonder what has been the hardest part of this journey, starting a nonprofit, and I can imagine there's so many pieces: getting nonprofit, getting people to donate, what has been the hardest challenge for you as a nonprofit?
Oh God, I think definitely getting the word out there and getting people to understand that we need help. So like when we went on the Today Show, it was a beautiful piece, and it was a touching piece, and we were flooded with phone calls and emails and very, very little donations.
Oh.
And it was, when the Today Show did the segment, it was more like, hey, look at this woman, what she started, and look what she's doing. versus, hey, she needs help. They need help. So, I mean, very, very little from that, which was not what we expected. And so, that's kind of a struggle for us because everybody loves what we're doing, but the donations are just not there. And we have more families coming in than we can handle financially.
Did you share that message when you were on the Today Show?
We tried. I actually said to the producer, I have one request, and that's just to ask me how we're funded so that I have the opportunity to tell you, we're funded by, personal donations and corporate donations, and, we need funding to continue to do this. And she said, okay, no problem. So in the interview, she asked me all those questions, and then a week before told me, they needed to cut it from the segment.
Oh.
There was never any discussion, and even like try to get to our website, there was no website on the page. People had to go to the Today Show to find us and then click through. So it wasn't easy to get through. And so that's our biggest thing. We struggle. We right now cannot afford to pay for all the families that we have that have come in.
The phone calls that you got because of the Today Show, were they people that wanted your help, or were they people that, what was the nature of why they were calling and reaching out?
A lot of it was just, oh my God, we love what you're doing. Bless you. It's amazing. Some people shared stories of people they lost.
Right.
Then unfortunately, they did not say in the segment that right now we're only in Connecticut. We do want to expand, but right now we're just licensed in Connecticut, and they didn't say that. So we were getting calls from all over the country of people that needed help. And that was really, really hard because you're hearing these people's stories, and to be able to tell them we're not there yet.
Right.
It was very, very difficult on us emotionally. But it wasn't, hey, we want to help. We did get a few people that said, hey, we've got timeshare, we have a timeshare and we'd like to help, or, we have a house out in the Midwest and we'd like to help. So we did get a little bit of that. And we did have, a couple people that said they'd like to help and volunteer. So, but it's just, we have sponsors and we have people that support us, but it's just not enough.
We have worked with small businesses. We have worked with nonprofits in the past and really tried to help them run them more like a business and that marketing piece. I guess one thing, I don't know how helpful this is, but one thing, and I'm sure Scott is helping you with it as well, is kind of converting those people that do call, and even if you can't get money from them, but convert them as advocates for your cause and kind of be able to have those conversations, even to just call them back and say, hey, I appreciate the message that you left me. And, we're really trying to raise money for this. And because you called, I know how important this is to you as well. Would you help us spread the message? And would you send out this fundraising campaign to everyone that you know for us? And even if every person raised, $5 or whatever, it's more than you have today.
Yeah.
But, if you think everybody's got an average of 50 people on their Facebook page, they could message. It's getting your message out and getting the, unfortunately, it's a business.
Yeah.
You're a nonprofit. It's so hard, and you want people to say, hey, I'm doing something amazing.
Right.
Give us money because we're going to do something really amazing with
and
it.
Everybody loves what we're doing.
Right.
Oh, that's great. Okay, well, good luck.
In some ways, isn't it harder to set up a nonprofit? Can you tell people about that process?
Oh my gosh, yes. I've got to give kudos to my husband, who is absolutely incredible. He's a CPA, and he had worked on one or two nonprofits, but had not done the paperwork at that point. And he is our CPA, and he took on that process. It is a long, grueling process to try to fill out your 501c3 paperwork. And especially for an organization like us where both he and I are officers, it's extremely important for an organization like that where there's two people that are related to be sure that it's listed very clearly. You have to have extra signatures on things, like just to be sure that there's no issues, and we were very aware of that. But I think my advice to people that are doing that and trying to work on the paperwork is just more information is better. Very, very detailed. We spent months working on that. And luckily for me, he is very anal. So nothing went by him. He'd give this thing back to me with revisions over and over and over and over again. But in the end, a lot of times they'll come back, the IRS, with changes and questions. And we didn't have that. They approved it right away. It was very buttoned up. But it is a long process. And you have to have so much information. And you really have to have your marketing, your mission statement, what you're planning on doing, who you're going to, and it's a lot of information to put into one place.
Yeah, I've heard that the process, especially the paperwork for the IRS, is tough. And I know forming an LLC was like, I think it took me a day to do the paperwork. So I just wonder, is there any time in that process where you were just like, forget it, this isn't worth it?
No, honestly, I'm one of those people that's really driven. And when I get my mind on something, I'm going to do it. And there's nothing stopping me. Sometimes that's to my detriment, but when I get my mindset on something. But I came home one day after realizing that there, wasn't something out there like this. And I said to my husband, so, by the way, I'm starting a nonprofit. And he was like, okay, do you have any idea what that means? I'm like, no, I don't, but I'm going to find out. And I started talking to everybody that I could. And then even when I started it, the biggest challenge is meeting people and getting the word out there. I went to every single event in the Valley. I joined, I joined up with the chamber. I joined the campaign cabinet for United Way. I took the Valley Chamber leadership class. I went to literally every single event there was. And our first event was a shopping night, and it was in November, and I think we'd gotten our 501c3 in May. I had 500 people show up.
Wow.
When I say we as a team.
Yeah.
A lot of those people were people that I met through these fundraisers that I went to. So it's definitely a challenge, but I don't give up. So
That's good.
It's just not the way I'm made. So
That's good. So what is the best source so far to date? What has been the best source for donations?
We've had some small corporate sponsors. Barnum Financial is a sponsor of ours. Really, we've had some small sponsorships, but aside from those, like TD Bank North sponsors, they sponsor our events. Mm-hmm. It's really been our fundraisers have been the largest source of income for us. Our softball marathon, is a big source of income for us. Our shopping night, which is coming up in November, that's a big source of income for us. But other than that, we do little small fundraisers during the year, but donations, corporate and personal donations have been great, but just not enough. Like we need some more of those.
One of our nonprofits in Hartford had said to us, I said, well, you're doing something so good. And they said, well, everyone is. And the pie is only so big. Yeah. And the challenge with corporate sponsorships is every other non-for-profit now becomes my competition. And I thought that was really fascinating because, as a contributor, I guess, it is true. You're like, okay, well, I can't contribute to everyone who knocks on the door, but right. Let me contribute to what I'm most passionate about.
Yeah. And that's what we tell people. It may not be us that you're passionate about, right, but find something you're passionate about. And the only thing I can say is to always try to donate if you're donating, to always try to donate to somebody that's a 501c3. Mm-hmm. Because, after we got our 501c3 this coming year, or this year that we're in now, we were audited by the IRS. A lot of times with nonprofits, you get audited the first year or the second year, somewhere in that area. They want to make sure that you're doing what you said you were going to be doing, that you're doing what was in your 501c3 paperwork. Where are the finances going? What are you spending it on? How is it coming in? From where? All sorts, this is a big audit. and, meeting notes and everything. Like they're really buttoned up. And we pass with flying colors. But there are so many other nonprofits that are out there that are not 501c3s, and there's nobody that's looking at, hey, where's that money going? So I always feel that people should just try to donate to organizations that are 501c3s.
It's what's fascinating to me is I have a friend who is a professional fundraiser for years. And, he's a solicitor. He ran this team of solicitors that calls you up and asks you for money. I was like, I cannot believe you have this job. This has got to be the worst job in the world. I said, all I think about is how to get them off the phone, right?
Yeah.
And he said, the best way to get someone off the phone is to ask them what percentage of the donations actually go to who they're servicing.
Yes.
So how much of the donations go, and it's amazing when you look at some of these like benevolent societies and things like that, and you ask that question when somebody picks up the phone, it's less than 5% of what they raise and what you give them actually goes to the charity itself. And so I challenge people to really ask that question, because there's all these middlemen in there, and if you're going to give $10 to the Police Benevolent Association so you can get that sticker for your car or whatever they're going to give you, and you're still going to get the speeding ticket. Give the $10 to Treasure Time so you can actually get the money to go where it should go, into families.
Yeah.
You be smart, make smart decisions.
Yeah, and that's what we tell people. And we get asked that actually quite often.
Do you?
What percentage? Like, it's funny, we'll have like these Stop and Shop days where we sit outside Stop and Shop and just tell people about us, like grassroots. And we do get asked that, and more than 95% of our income goes right to the families.
That's amazing.
We have a very small overhead. We don't have an office space. We really the only outgoing money is for marketing materials and little posters and banners and things like that. But for the most part, we don't get salary. None of us get paid anything. And so really it's all goes back to the families.
It's funny that you brought that up, Colleen, because there was this, I guess it's an infographic going around on Facebook that I shared to my page, to my personal page not that long ago, about organizations like the American Red Cross and March of Dimes, which my last daughter was born 10 weeks early, so somebody tried to recruit me into the March of Dimes, and I'm glad I didn't now. So somebody posted a website in response to that, and it's called charitynavigator.org. So if you go on that website, it actually tells you before you start working with a nonprofit whether or not they are good about using that money for what their purpose is. So March of Dimes is definitely not. It says something about 10 cents for every dollar actually goes to the people they're raising money for. So that's something, charitynavigator.org. I'll put it in the chat. I don't think anybody. Yeah,
it's just so important, especially when there's a nonprofit like us that struggles. And then there are organizations out there that, that the money doesn't actually get into the pockets of what it should be.
Right. True. Well, that's the whole Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation, right? I mean, it's really was created on that premise that money isn't going where it needs to. And if we put this money and ran charities like businesses, they would be far more effective, right?
Yeah.
So it's really fascinating. I love what you're doing, Suzanne, and it breaks my heart and warms it at the same time.
Thank you. It's difficult, but it's worth it. It really is. It's just, but we need help. We need help, and not, when we say, oh, we need help, it's not even just money. The money, we obviously do need that, but it's connections. It's, hey, who do you know? It's, hey, I can't donate, my money, but I can donate my time, because, we're looking at events for next year, and we're like, how are we going to do events? We don't have enough volunteers. And so we're really struggling to find volunteers who want to come and help. And, hey, I'd love to plan an event for you. We have this one guy, Dober. He is incredible. He called us and said, we want to do a golf tournament for you. And he planned the whole thing. He did everything. I went the day of. It was amazing. And all the proceeds went to us.
That's brilliant.
And somebody even said to him, you're not taking a cut of the proceeds?
Really?
And he was like, no, I don't want to. Like, this is for them. I'm doing something good. And yeah, he, like, that kind of stuff, doing events, you know, in our honor, you know, helping us raise money, coming to our events and saying, hey, I'd like to help out with one of your events. You know, we have some great ideas for events, but there's not enough volunteers that we just can't implement them. So it's tough. Also, you know, people that have timeshares or people that have, you know, we always need limousines, you know, to take our families. Like somebody that owns a limousine company that's willing to donate one way or a portion of the portion of the cost. So we always need stuff like that. Great.
I might know a 20-year-old young lady who can do some volunteer work. She might or might not be related to me.
You know what? We'll take it.
Yeah. No, that's my daughter. She's a good kid. I talked to her about it before. She was going to help out with that event that fell through I don't even know the whole story behind it, but the one that fell through in September. So I'll talk to her, see if she wants to. She's busy. She's in school and works, but we'll see.
Well, we would love it. We actually meet the first Wednesday of every month at Molto Bene in Ansonia. So we always welcome new people to come in and check out one of our meetings and, you know, volunteer to help out. So it was really sad. We had a Stop and Shop day set up, and it was one of our top Stop and Shop days, like one of the ones where we make the most money from. We had to cancel it because we couldn't get anybody to go. And all I had to do was go sit there for the day and, you know, sit there for a couple of hours and just tell people about us. And we didn't have enough people and we had to cancel it.
Mm.
You know, it's stuff like that. It's just really hard when you have to cancel things like that because there's a bug flying around because you don't have enough people to help.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Well, oh my God, I wish you so much luck with this organization, and I think what you're doing is tremendous, Suzanne.
Thank you.
And
I really appreciate it.
are you ready for this power round, Scott?
Sure. Are you ready for it, Suzanne?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready.
So what's your favorite business book?
What is the seven effective habits of business or something like that? The 7 most highly effective habits.
Oh, yeah, I know which one.
What am I talking about?
Yeah, I love the 7 highly effective habits of successful people, or you've got a whole bunch of different ones, but
Yeah, I love
amazing.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, good book. I can't remember the title either, but I can remember it.
Yeah,
I have it in my bookshelf over there. I'm trying to cheat.
Cheating is
The
encouraged.
7 habits of highly effective people.
Yes, that's it. That's my favorite business book.
Okay. Colleen?
Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. All right, no pressure.
She's thinking about the Diet Coke. I saw that yesterday, by the way.
Like, no pressure, no pressure.
Favorite activity outside of business?
Skiing.
Oh, nice.
We're big skiers. We ski up at Mad River Glen in Vermont. Our kids who are 10 and 8 are fantastic skiers, our son especially. And so we joined the ski program up there where we were taking him every other weekend. But it's a long ride, and I'm doing a temporary job right now, and so just couldn't do it this year, but we're big skiers. Very passionate about it.
Oh, fun.
It's good. I'm moving out of Connecticut because of snow, so you can keep it.
Although I get hurt all the time, so you would think that I shouldn't be skiing. Every time I get hurt, my doctor's like, so when are you going to slow down? And I'm like, I'm not.
I have a good friend, 68 years old, every weekend, Saturday and Sunday. He's the first one on the slopes. and I can't keep up with them. We go up, they have a house up in Vermont. We go up there with him, and he is like amazing. And I'm like, it keeps you young, keeps you healthy. It's great for you.
I can't keep up with my kids.
Really?
Yeah, it's scary. My son goes into the woods, and I'm like, I follow him, and I'm saying to the teenagers that are with us, like, can you please go follow him, because I can't keep up. And I'm like, he has no fear, so he'll just go anywhere. And I'm like, you're going to end up in a ditch sometime, you know. But at that age, yeah, he'll jump off of anything. And now my daughter is following him. So
it's nice to have no fear.
Sometimes.
It drives the parents crazy, trust me, because my son is the same way, no fear. He's diving off of things. He's only 5, and I'm just like, going to have a heart attack because of this kid.
Well, a couple of years ago, my son hit a tree skiing, and talk about fear. Like when you get that, like, Ryan, you know, got hurt, and he's at he's at first aid, and you're like, oh my God, and your heart stops. And you go up, and he's got like a bandage on the whole side of his face. It's all cut up and banged up, and yeah, it's a very scary sport. So,
favorite quote.
Live every day to its fullest.
Oh, good one.
But I also have a favorite poem, even more so. So I know it's like an add-on to that question, but
go for it.
If everybody has the opportunity to read this, it's called Dash. And this is a big part of why I do what I do. It's called The Dash, and you can look it up. If you Google the Dash poem, it'll come up. And it's basically the moral of it is it doesn't really matter what you do, you know, or no, it says it doesn't really matter what the dates are on your tombstone. What really matters is what you do with the dash that's in between. So it's like, how are you going to spend your life? You know, how are you going to spend the time you have in between those two dates? Like the dash in the middle, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to do something good with it? Are you going to, you know, do something that people are going to remember you by? And I swear that's really why I do what I do. It's trying to do something good with my dash.
That's good. I'm going to have to read that one.
Yeah, you got to read it. It's pretty powerful.
So what is one piece of advice you wish you knew before you started your business?
How difficult it was going to how difficult it was going to be to get the message out. I think that's really, I didn't anticipate that. I just thought, people are going to hear what we're doing, and they're going to love it, you know, as much as I do. But you don't realize that not everybody is going to be as passionate about it as you are. And finding those people that are passionate and getting them to want to help is much harder than I expected, because it was happening so quickly at the beginning.
Right.
But now it's hard to keep that momentum going with people.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to help spread the word for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I really.
For sure. This is recorded. This will be shared to my YouTube channel, and it also gets posted to iTunes and growthsuccessradio.com. I will send it to both you and Colleen, so you guys can do with it as you please. Right. It's recorded as audio and video, so you can just use the audio file as well, which is what goes to iTunes. So that right there, and I'll put it on your website. So
great, because for all of you out there, he did our website, and it looks amazing.
Thank you. So they're also, we didn't get a chance to really talk about it because I'm not. We're still working through all the details, but they've also taken advantage of Google Grants, which Suzanne, I've told other nonprofits about, at least half a dozen now, and for some reason, none of them want to take advantage of it. They don't get back to me. They don't follow through. I don't really know what it is, but Treasure Time is taking advantage of Google Grants, which gives them up to $10,000 a month in advertising through Google without any cost to them. What else? They're on, well, tell us how we can find Treasure Time.
Sure. We are on the web at treasuredtime.org. You can also find us on Facebook, which is facebook.com/treasuredtime. I've got to say our website is fantastic. But one of the things that we really keep Facebook up to date like daily. So I always find that's one of the best ways to get quick information. All of our events are posted. We always set up an event on there for everything. And we do have some really great events coming up. So please keep an eye on our Facebook and our website. We are on Twitter. It's Treasured Time 1. We just got on Instagram, but shame on me. I don't even know I don't even know it.
It's Treasure Time.
Is it Treasure Time?
It's Treasure Time, yeah. Instagram.com/Treasure Time. So they've already developed quite a following on there. They've got 200 followers on there already. 200 plus, I should say.
Wow. I learn something new every day.
I think Cassandra manages it mostly, right?
He's awesome.
And
I'm sorry. Suzanne, I'm curious. Are there any platforms that haven't worked for you as a nonprofit?
No, not really. I mean, the web, we get a lot. I mean, like Facebook, social, we get a lot of followers. Like we get a lot of people that help, but I don't know that we're really getting the donations through any online platform necessarily. We send a letter out to the families that we help, to their friends and families. That seems to help a little bit, but we just don't seem to. Everybody shares it, the families, but we don't seem to get very many donations coming in that way. So I think the social media is better for us.
And if somebody did want to donate online, they would go to...
Or were you going to say it, or am I?
No, I'm waiting for you to fill it in.
I'm like, you know better than I do now. If you go to treasuredtime.org, there is a place right on there to donate. That's typically the best way. Now, we do have something coming. It's going to be launching on the first week in November, I believe. And it's one of those kind of like an Indiegogo, but it's
crowdfunding. I was going to ask about that. Why haven't you guys considered doing that?
We tried Indiegogo. I spent like an entire weekend putting this beautiful page together, and we shared it on social media, and we got one $100 donation.
Wow.
Yeah, it's everything I've learned about crowdfunding, because we did it in the beginning to just try to launch our business. And what we found, and it's a full-time job, and we couldn't commit to it, but to really do that, it is an absolute full-time job. And it's really networking people, which is, it's hard.
Yeah. So what we're doing is this new one that we're starting, and I don't have the name of it with me. The guy came to our meeting the other night. It's similar to those other ones. What makes this different is our whole team, our whole Treasure Time team will actually sign in, and then they submit like 20 of their friends and family's emails. And then that it goes out that way versus just being over social media. Because, if I call one of my closest friends and say, listen, I really need help. I have this family. Can you please donate? It's going to be more likely that they're going to want to do it from me. The same way that somebody on our team who sends this to their friend is going to be more likely to donate. And then hopefully it goes on and on that way. So we're hoping that this will be different. And then this company they create the page for us. So we're hoping that will help. So we'll definitely post that on social media so everybody can keep an eye out on that for that. But I think we're hoping that this will be different than some of the other ones that we've done.
I think so too. It's such a great cause. What you're doing, Suzanne, it's just such a great thing. It really is.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. We just we want to continue to be able to do what we're doing, and we need help. Specifically, right now, we're working on one family in particular that the dad has ALS, and he was actually referred to us by not only the ALS Foundation, but another foundation, another organization. He used to do like shoe shining for some of the corporate offices. Like nicest guy. He's not from here, and he's very sick. And he's with ALS, as a lot of people know, you deteriorate, and you can deteriorate quickly. And so we are working on granting a wish for them, so they can create a memory together before Dad is too sick to be able to do anything with his kids. So it's hard. We have so many families like that right now. We have a family with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, the dad. We just got an application for another woman who's got stage 4 breast cancer. So there's just so many people out there that need our help. So, if you're out there and you see this and you're listening, please donate. That's, help us to help additional families so we can keep doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. So treasuretime.org.
Yes.
You donate. Open up your wallets. Stop giving to the Benevolent Society.
Stop giving to these greedy organizations. I said it, so nobody else said it. I said it. That's who was it? I know. Geez, now I got to find it again. March of Dimes is one of them. They only give 10 cents on the dollar. I think I don't want to get it wrong because then that's bad. But stop. So go to charitynavigator.org before you donate your money. And it's that time of the year where people donate. I think there's more Goodwill, UNICEF, the United Way, and the American Red Cross. These are all organizations that do not pass all of the money through.
It's almost like they got so big that their administrative costs are out of control.
Right. And so help Treasure Time, treasuretime.org. Help them raise the funds they need to help these families create these memories. I don't know what else to tell you. I haven't actually donated financially, but I have donated a lot of time. So
yes, you have. We very much appreciate that.
Thank you. So even if you can donate time, like Suzanne said, they need volunteers. So volunteer. How many volunteers do you need for November?
We need probably about 20 to 30 volunteers.
There we go. You need 20 to 30 people. And what is that? An all-day event?
It's an evening event. I believe, and we'll have details coming out soon, but I believe it's 6 p.m. to 9:30. And there's actually 2 events going on at the same time in the same building. It's kind of cool. So we have a wine tasting going on, and we're going to have wines from around the world. And it's, I believe, oh God, I don't want to get the price wrong. It's either $30 or $40. But that includes like some appetizers and pasta station and stuff like that, and the wine tasting. And then I believe that also gives you access to our shopping night, which is in the other room. And Santa's there, and we have, I think we're capping it at 40 vendors this year because last year was a little too big. But you can go and do all your holiday shopping, and it's just really great vendors that come out, and it's a really good time. Or you can just do that, and it's only $5 to get in and go shopping.
Wow. So $5 to get into this event. They're looking for 20 to 30 volunteers for just a few hours of your time. So even if you can't give financially, give time. Everybody has time.
It's November 19th.
November 19th.
Yeah, details will be out shortly.
So Suzanne, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. We really appreciate your time. Colleen, thank you for filling in.
Oh, no problem. It's fun. It's fun. Great to hear about your organization, Suzanne.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you.
Growth Success Radio is back next Friday, but at 1 p.m. Because I'm actually speaking in Hamden for a Friday morning. So 1 p.m. we're going to talk to Bill Dorr. Colleen knows Bill.
Love him.
Bill Dorr, he is a duct tape marketer, but he also has a couple of other things he's working on, so that should be a lot of fun. So make sure you come back next Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern. And I look forward to seeing everybody then. And Suzanne, best of luck. We'll talk again anyway.
Sounds good.
I will stop the recording now.